Hello. Yes, the story I'm working on is a story called Broken Branches. What it is, it's about a Dr. Rick Evans and his friend Brent, who has created the first working time machine. Okay, and now one day, Dr. Evans, he's sitting up with his wife, and he's about to go because he had a appointment with these government officials who wants him to do an assignment. Well, his wife was skeptical, and she was telling him, hey, these guys are not even giving you what branch of the government they're with, what they want you to do, anything. So, but he's like, well, I'll just go check it out, find out what we want to do, and I'll come back discuss it with you before I accept the job. So he leaves and he goes out to meet with these people. Well, he's driving, and then finally, he gets there and he almost doesn't realize he's at the right place because, it's an old abandoned building. He's smelling old sewage and backed up water where you can tell the building has been abandoned for quite a long time. So finally, he's about to leave, but as he's leaving, someone calls his name. He turns around, he realizes he's in the right place. Well, he goes in and he meets another doctor who his name is Dr. Vance. Well, he asked him finally, what branch of the government you with? And he's like, well, we're not actually part of the government, but what we are doing here, because we've heard about your time machine, what we're doing here is, we are doing things that can help the government. So he's like, well, what is it that you want out of me? So he started talking to him about how, bad things have happened in the past, that now with the use of a time machine, it can be changed now. So he brought up Maximilian de Robespierre, who was a emperor. Well, he killed millions. Killed many, not millions. He killed many of people, and he was like, this guy, he was very evil. And just think, if we could have stopped him from doing the things he did, how many lives would have been saved? Because this man, he killed over 100,000 people. So, Dr. Evans was like, well, this guy, he's an emperor. How could I get to him? He's like, well, what we're going to do, basically Terminator style, Terminator Sarah Connor style, we're going to go back and not kill him. Let's go back and kill his mother before he was born. That way we never even have to worry about his existence at all. Well, he's like, well, and here's your $2 million. He gave it to him up front. And the reason was, once you go back and change history, by the time you get back, the problem that you changed has never existed when you come back. So we won't be here. So you can't come to us and ask us for the money then, because we won't even know what you're talking about. Because Maximilian would have been killed 300 years ago, and we would have known nothing about him. So you take the money now, you let it go through your travels with you. Therefore, when you get back, you have your money and everything's fine. So he's like, okay, fair enough. So he, with modern day weapons and everything, he goes back, to the years like 1760s, and he kills Jacqueline, which is the mother of Maximilian. So when he gets this done, he immediately comes back. So what he does, he goes there and he comes back 3 hours before he even left. So therefore, it's like he's never been gone. But when he gets back, his home is not his home. His wife is nowhere to be found. And he doesn't know, what's going on. So he's looking around his neighborhood, and some of the people he recognizes, some of the people he don't. But, as he tries to speak to people, no one recognizes him. So, he's wondering what's going on. So, Brent, which is his partner who helped him, you know, invent this time machine, he calls him up. You know, they have been friends since they were kids, you know, raised together. Their wife were sisters and everything, you know. So he calls him up and he's, you know, like, hey, Brent, you know, have you seen my wife? And he's like, yes, you know, as a matter of fact, I have. You know, she's over here right now, you know, with my wife. He's, oh, okay, you know, that's fine. He said, but, you know, I need to come to your house, you know. He's like, oh, you know, good, because I want to talk to you because I'm coming along pretty well on the time machine. He said, oh, you know, that's something I kind of need to talk to you about. So he's like, you know, all right, well, so I need you to come get me because I can't find my car, nothing, you know. He's like, so where are you at? So, you know, he tells him where he's at, and he's like, you know, what are you doing over there? He said, well, I'm at my house. But he kind of stops, like, you know, I'll explain that to you when you get here. So Brent, he finally comes, and he's like, you know, well, you know, I can't wait. You know, I gotta tell Dana what's going on. You know, Dana was the name of his wife, and Brent is like, who is Dana? And he's like, you know, Dana, my wife, your wife's sister. And he's like, you know, no, I don't know any Dana, and you know, my wife doesn't even have any sisters, you know. And he's like, well, who was at the house that you said is over there talking to your wife? He said, your wife, Sherry. And he's like, my wife, Sherry. He's like, yeah, you know, you've been married like 14 years now, you know. So he said, you know, because now Brent sees something's wrong, you know, what is wrong with this guy? And he's like, well, I have, because he had, you know, with this Dana, he had Dana and he had 2 children, you know. And he's like, so Sherry, he's like, yeah, you know, Sherry, your wife, the mother of your 6 children, you know. He's like, whoa, 6 children? He said, yeah, 6 kids, you know. Well, he explains to Brent exactly what went on, you know, exactly what he did. He showed him this money that he had. He showed him exactly how he got it. I mean, told him exactly how he got it. Well, Brent, who was a very smart man, you know, he's like, well, look, I think the problem is when you went back to murder Jacqueline, Maximilian's mother. Jacqueline's bloodline most likely branched out way farther than Maximilian. You know, when you go back 300 years, from there, someone's bloodline can spread so far, you don't know who it's going to affect. So I think since you said that our wives before you came back were sisters, I think you went back by killing this woman, you affected their family tree. You broke the branches of their family tree. So these wives that you say we once had, they do not exist anymore. They were never born because evidently you stopped that, or you caused a chain reaction that made that stop. So I think what we need to do is, you know, you're going to have to move on because you have changed history. And, you know, the life I live is the only life I know. You know of this other life of, you know, whatever her name is. And, well, as he sitting there, you know, he's realizing that he is even starting to forget, you know, he's trying to remember pictures of his wife and kids, and now it's becoming a blur. And Brent explains to him, you are now becoming your modern day self. So the memories of those, your wife and kids, in reality, now they have never happened. So your modern day self is starting to erase them from your head. So Dr. Evan had to then, you know, basically start over his life with a new wife and 6 kids, and you know, and this is a story I've been working on, and I hope you enjoy it.